It is the end of our school year, and I thought it would be fun to take you guys along on our end of school year routine and what I do to empty out all the crafts they did, keep track of some of the work that they did to hold on to for the future, just to have a representative sample of some of the work they did for, like, I guess auditing purposes with the government, but also just to look back on. And then how we store and keep track of all of our memories, because my goal at the end of my kids leaving the home is to hand them a couple things that they can take with them that will be like the memories they had when they were a kid. My parents were wonderful and kept a lot for me, but it was a bit overwhelming because there were just bins full of papers and things that I still haven't gone through, and I'm in my late 30s at this point. And so I don't want that for my kids. So I spend a couple hours every end of the year just going through, printing pictures, going through everything, saving it all. And so I thought I would show you my system today. Okay, so first up, we are gonna go through this cabinet. Don't judge, it's a little crazy. This is where I keep all of their artwork and things and just any papers that I might want to save. And normally I go through this in the middle of the year once it gets full, but I had a baby 5 months ago and it's been a little crazy since then, so I have not, and it's spilled like all over this cabinet. So I'm gonna pull this out, I'm gonna go through everything. My kids are not home. I recommend doing this without your kids around, because if they see all their artwork, they're gonna say, oh, I want to keep that, oh, I want to keep that, oh, I want to keep that. And the goal is to get rid of as much as possible. I'm gonna save the things that I think are representative of their art level this year and anything that's really special, but the rest is going in the recycling and going out to the recycling bin before they even notice it, because if they haven't asked for it in months, then it can't be that special. So that's what I'm gonna do first. Okay, this is something that I do find very overwhelming. So I'm gonna go through this whole thing. I'm gonna sit this down on this chair so I have some space. Maybe, oh gosh. Oh, Lord Almighty. Okay. So I'm gonna, oh goodness. I highly recommend you do this multiple times throughout the year, not waiting till the end of the year to do the whole pile. I'm gonna go through and divide this out, like I have a pile for my oldest daughter, my middle daughter, my youngest daughter, and then if there's anything for my baby, which it looks like there is, like our ultrasound pictures and stuff like that, I will lay those out, and then I'm going to put all of the stuff we are going to recycle on the bench here. I feel very wasteful doing this, but I have to remind myself too, like a lot of the stuff they didn't even make at home, they made at like church or Awana or what have you. But also, art is a learning process, and so they learned in every single one of these things they did. And not every single piece of it has to be kept to remember the process. And then I also keep things like programs from piano recitals and different things like that as well. And also birthday cards I also save. Keep pile of like cards and stuff over the years that I need to put somewhere else, so it's not in here. I have my oldest daughter's keep pile, my youngest daughter's, my middle daughter's, and then just a couple things for my baby that I'm gonna put somewhere else because I don't have a system set up for him yet and probably won't this year. But the rest of the stuff is going to be recycled. whole garbage bag full of stuff to get rid of. So next up, I'm going to put these things in their bins. Now, I did not create these. I actually bought these quite a few years ago. So my third daughter and my baby don't have one. My third daughter has one, but it's just like a standard file bin. It doesn't have her name, which I don't have a Cricut. I'm probably never gonna do that. So I'll just write her name on it. And then they all have these file folders that you can fill in, but since we homeschool, it just kind of seems redundant, so I don't really write a whole lot. So I'm just gonna buy file folders for my other kids and then just write first grade or second grade or whatever in permanent marker and just put everything in for each year in the file folder. Okay, the other thing I put in these bins is a representative sample and just any other schoolworks type stuff. So I'm gonna go through some of our homeschool stuff and corral some stuff that I will put in here as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of walk you through some of the stuff I'm keeping and why. So for my 7-year-old who just finished first grade, I'm gonna keep this counting by 2s, 5s, and 10s chart. We did this almost every day and it's just kind of fun to look back on her learning that. My youngest daughter, who is now 4, did some of the pages in this Explode the Code book. And so I'm gonna look at any that were more than just like scribbling on the paper and probably put a couple of those in just to show some of the stuff she was doing this year. So this is a great one to keep. So here she had to trace in between lines and she did pretty well with that. And then on here she had to circle the matching letters. So I will keep that for her. And maybe 1 or 2 more. Here she had to find the letter that makes the sound for the word and then write the letter. And that's gonna be it for that one. My oldest daughter did most of this learning language arts through literature, so I'm just gonna pick a few pages to kind of show what she was learning. So like she did, that's a good one. She did a lot of like copy work and dictation, so I'll do that, and then just a lot of like grammar and stuff like that. And so any book that has review activities or some kind of assessment are good to keep, so I'm going to keep that for her. Let's see. Yeah, any review is good to keep, so I'm going to keep a couple of these reviews. And then because I can't reuse this for any other kids, because you write in the workbook, I'm going to just recycle it. You don't have to keep everything. She also did this project where she had to write a paper about Minnesota, so I'm definitely going to keep that along with some of the stuff we used for it. So that was like a big project she did. She had to draw Minnesota, so we'll keep that. And then she had to do some stuff where she like designed her room and interviewed people in our family. So I'll also have her keep that. Art, we were learning about Picasso, so we made our own, this was mine, like creature using different shapes and things, so we'll keep that. My middle daughter did Explode the Code this year. She did 3 or 4 of the books, so I'm just gonna take a couple pictures or take a couple pages that show like her doing a good job to show like a representative sample of some of the stuff she did, like that. just in case, you just never know. So that way, to have some proof that we did actually do stuff at our house. We also test every year, which is required in Minnesota, but it doesn't hurt to also save some of this. She did some handwriting. I will save, let's see. And then recycle. For my both kids, older girls, for math, like I did for the others, I like to just keep any of the assessments and maybe just a couple of the pages for them to look back on. But I think it's handy to do any of the assessments. And then we're not quite done with math, so I'm not gonna do the last assessment yet. Let's see. For our daily riches, which is my riches curriculum, they did a lot of copy work, so I'm gonna save just a couple of those, especially if they colored the picture. It's really pretty. Might be kind of fun to keep like any poems that they really enjoyed or folk songs to look back on. Like they loved the Bonnie Bakes of Loch Lomond, so that might be a fun one to just keep. Let's see. Like I try not to spend too much time doing this because you could try to save everything and it's just not. They're not probably going to care that much when they grow up, if I'm being honest. Same with my oldest daughter. Her copy work looked a little bit different. Like she was actually writing it out. So I'll just keep a couple of those that show like her best handwriting. Okay, I'm not going to save like spelling and stuff for my oldest. I just don't really care. Okay, last up is written narration. This one's gonna be really hard for me. So every week, for the most part, we read all the Narnia books this year, and so every week they would do a written and illustrated narration. This was their very final one, so I will keep that. And like I wrote on the back like how old they were, the date, the book. Maybe I'm gonna have them go through these actually and pick their like 5 favorites. That way it's special and meaningful to them. And I don't have to make the decision, and then I'll just pop them in here because that is hard for me. Let's see. So that's another tip. Like you could have your kids go through, you pick your top things you want to save, and then if there's anything they want to save, look back on, because ultimately this is for my kids to look back on. But also like I said, a representative sample of what we did just in case the government ever knocks on my door. That way they have a say in what you keep. So I'm just gonna sort these so they can pick their top 5, and then I'll just pop them in here. It's gonna be really sad actually to get rid of some of these, but you can't keep everything, you know? Like you're gonna want to, but you just can't. But that's good. So now I can add those all to their bins. So like that's it. It's not a whole lot. Plus these once they go through them. I mean, my oldest daughter probably has the most just because she's doing more at her age and writing more and stuff like that, so there's more to save, but she probably has fewer art projects and stuff like that. So just to kind of give you guys an idea, like this is the file folder I'm saving for her for 4th grade. Not a whole lot. Versus this is my 1st graders because she has more art projects and teeth that she lost. I don't know why I'm saving them, but I am. And that kind of thing. And then my 4-year-old is pretty comparable to my oldest because she's not doing a whole lot of art yet and obviously isn't like writing papers and doing a lot of homeschool, like actual like workbooks and stuff like that. So hers is not very big. I'm sure next year when she starts drawing more and doing some more phonics and stuff, it'll be a little bit bigger, but the older they get, probably the smaller they'll get. You know, they'll probably be about what my 4th graders was this year, so bittersweet. Okay, so the very last thing I do, now that I'm done with the bins, that's done. The last thing I do is go through and work on their school memories book. So I bought these quite a few years ago. I have 3, one for each girl, and then I just ordered one for my son. I will link to these below. These are such a handy way to keep track of all your kids' memories. And so there's places to put pictures of them, their first day of school ever, and then when they graduate. There's a place to keep track of their school picture every year, which I just do like their first day of school picture if they aren't in school, which for preschool they usually had one, but the older years they haven't had anything. And then there's a place to like write about them, and there's a place to put pictures. And so what I do is I go through my phone, I print out a 4x6 of their first day of school and their last day of school, because we do the little like sign picture. And then I also print that in a 2x3 size as well to keep, you know, for their first day every year for like their school picture. And then I go through, and in Canva, you can like, when you drag pictures on there and like change the size, it will tell you the size. So I just do really small pictures from the school year, mostly from school days, but also like we went to the Renaissance Festival. They did Awana, my oldest did piano, she had a piano recital, and stuff like that, just to kind of go through the whole year. And I have about 2 pages per girl. And so I will cut those out, and I just print them on glossy paper in my printer, and then I will use a tape runner to tape them in, and then I will be done. And there's a place for them to write their name every year, which I think is a cute addition. So I'll have them do that when they're home. But then I am all done with their end of the year stuff, and it's just a great thing to do every year. Then you can feel like, okay, when they get to 18 and they graduate, I can pass this on to them, and I have done a really good job of keeping track of everything. However, if your kids are not preschool age, it's okay to start this late. Like, don't feel like you have to go back and like reinvent everything they did and put it in file folders and stuff. You can start where you are right now. It's better than nothing. Don't let your fear of like, well, I didn't start it when they were little, get to you. Start now. If you ever have time to go back, you can definitely do that. Or if your kids are older, you could task them with that. Like, here's the bin of all the stuff. Go through and organize it. And print out any pictures or whatever, but you don't have to. Starting now and doing the rest of their school career is better than not doing it at all. So don't feel like you have to go back. But if you do have young kids, this might be a great video to prompt you to start this so that it's something you do every year. It takes me 1 to 2 hours every year at the end of the school year. It's totally worth it. And there you have it, a whole homeschool memory keeping system in about 2 hours for 3 different kids. I hope this video was helpful and it gave you some ideas, even if you don't adopt this whole system. Hopefully it gave you some ideas you can take with you and add to your own routine. And hopefully this will allow your kids to leave the house one day with not a whole lot of stuff, but a whole lot of memories and an easy way to look back on them that's not burdensome to them and not burdensome to you. It doesn't take you a whole lot of time each year. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.